not easy to make an entire meal from local ingredients. I think it's really important. Not only do you get much better ingredients because they're ripened on the vine, but you support local businesses, and that's important to do. So I thought I'd really challenge myself and see if I could make an entire meal based on local ingredients. So I've made the appetizer, and now I'm making dessert. It's a fresh peach cake, and it uses local peaches and local eggs, and I'll show you where they're from. The eggs come from Amber Waves Farm, which is run by two adorable girls, Katie Baldwin and Amanda Merrow. They met as farm apprentices and started the farm a year ago. And it's so cool because it's a nonprofit, community-supported agriculture, and it's also an education project. Can you believe they have 54 free-range egg-laying hens and 1 rooster? That's a busy rooster. And are growing more than 100 varieties of fruit, vegetables, and flowers, all on just 2 acres. The peaches are from Amagansett Farmers Market, which is run by my friend Eli Zabar. He works so hard to support the produce and the products of local farmers and artisans. This is the peaches all ready to go, and now I'm gonna make the batter. So I've already beaten 1/4 pound of butter, room temperature, and a cup of sugar, and now I'm just gonna add the eggs. And these eggs are from the local farm. Aren't they just amazing? Look how gorgeous that beautiful egg is. So I need 2 eggs. Always crack them into a bowl. Oh, look how gorgeous that is. Dark yellow. Wonder what this one is. Look at that. You can tell when an egg is really fresh, the yolk really stands up. So I'm going to put it into the batter one at a time. I'm going to let it mix in completely. We'll get all the egg. Just make sure that's nicely mixed in. Next is a cup of sour cream, which is 8 ounces. It's the whole container. Just put it right in. Make sure it's nice and rich and delicious. Turn it down a little bit. 1 teaspoon of good vanilla. Yeah. Okay, next the dry ingredients. 2 cups of flour. Remember, with baking, it's really important to measure correctly. There's no point in making something if it's not going to come out right. So just lighten the flour, and then just carefully level it off with your finger. Perfect. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And just 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just sift it all together. I don't know, there's nothing like the smell of warm peach cake in the house. It makes everybody happy. Okay, with the mixer on low, just gonna slowly add it to the batter on very low speed. Perfect. Okay, that's the batter. Now I'm gonna make layers of peaches, cinnamon sugar, and batter. This is gonna be good. So first I need the cinnamon sugar. 1/2 cup of sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I love peaches and cinnamon, are a great combination. Just stir them together. Smells so good. So I've got a 9-inch pan that I've greased and floured, and it's just gonna be layers. I'll show you. So I'm gonna pour 1/2 the batter on the bottom of the pan. It's a very thick batter, which is good. It'll look thin. You'll be surprised how much this cake is going to rise. Because remember, we put a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda in it. Okay, next, I'm going to do 1/2 the peaches and 2/3 of the cinnamon sugar. So just line the peaches up right on top of the batter. I mean, how good does this look? It's a really simple cake, but it's got so much flavor. Okay, and then 2/3 of the cinnamon sugar, just right on top of the peaches. And next, the rest of the batter right on top. And just spread this out with a knife. Just cover the peaches. Thin layer. Just want to make sure they're all covered. Now I'm going to cover it with the last layer of peaches. I'm going to do 3 rows of 6. Okay, perfect. And then the rest of the cinnamon and sugar. And then the last thing is I put some pecans on top. About 1/2 cup, just rough chop. and just sprinkle them on the top. Oops. Gorgeous. Okay, into the oven, 350 degrees for 45 to 55 minutes until a cake tester comes out clean. This is going to be so delicious. So I've decided to make a whole meal based on local ingredients, and the dessert is fresh peach cake. It's cooled and it just smells incredible. I used fresh peaches and fresh local eggs. So I'm writing an article about it. I have to take a picture. Perfect. That looks good. My friends Eli Zabar, David Ziff, and I are making dinner together. We've each got our assignments. Of course, I assigned dessert to myself. So I'm making a plum tart. I love plums. These are these Italian prune plums, and they're in season at the end of the summer, and they're so delicious. If you want to make these with regular plums, just make sure they're not too juicy. They should be pretty firm, but you can certainly do it. So I'm starting with 3/4 pound of prune plums, 2 tablespoons of tapioca. It's a root, and it's used to thicken things classically in pies, and it'll sort of absorb the juices. 2 tablespoons of creme de cassis, which is black currant liqueur, which you don't really taste in the tart, but it really brings out that sort of plummy flavor. And next is 3/4 cup of sugar. So I'm just going to stir this up. This is going to sit for about 15 minutes and just sort of macerate. The juices are going to come out. And in the meantime, I'm going to make a shortbread dough, which is going to become both the crust and the crumble topping. I'll show you how to make it. Start with 1/4 pound of unsalted butter. It has to be room temperature. Put it in the bowl of a mixer fitted with a paddle attachment. Add a cup of sugar, and then cream them together until they're light and fluffy. Meanwhile, put 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour in another bowl. Add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and just mix them together. Then with the mixer on low, gradually add the dry ingredients to the butter mixture until it forms small dry crumbs. Then add a tablespoon of cold water, and in about 30 seconds, the mixture will form large moist crumbs, and it'll be done. So the next thing to do is put in a springform pan. I've got a 9-inch springform pan. And I'm just going to put the dough right in. I'm going to put almost all of it, save like 3/4 cup, and I'll show you. I'm going to put it on the top, like a little crumble. So just pat it right. I love shortbread dough for this because you can just pat it in. You don't have to roll it out. And if it's too sticky, a little bit of flour on your fingers, just be really easy to do. You can really make this tart with peaches or pears, but when the plums are in season, I just think they're great. Okay, next the plums. So I'm going to take all the plums that I've cut and just put them in, but I want it to be really pretty. So just do them really tightly. Just keep going around in circles. Great when this looks like a little like a lotus flower. Okay, last couple, just squeeze in here. It just makes it. And then I'm going to take the juice and just pour it over the top. Just drizzle it on. And then finally, that little bit of the 3/4 cup of crumb topping that I held aside, I'm just going to crumble right on top. I love this tart because you end up with a crisp base and the juicy fruit is fantastic and it all bakes together. It's so good. So the plum tart's been cooling for about 15 minutes. And I'm just going to get it out of this pan. It's not easy to do. And it's all ready to go. And believe me, it tastes as good as it looks. I know I have a reputation for starting every recipe with a pound of butter, but this one's actually a lemon cake that's made with yogurt and vegetable oil, so it's even good for you. And it's delicious. So I'm going to start with the dry ingredients. 1 1/2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just sift those together. Okay, I need 1 cup of yogurt. I use whole milk yogurt. I think it gives a good flavor. Okay, 1 cup of sugar. You can make it without butter, but not without sugar. Okay, 3 extra large eggs. I always break them into another bowl just in case you get a bad egg. I always use room temperature eggs when I'm baking. Really makes the cakes lighter. Half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Two teaspoons of lemon zest. That's actually about the zest of 1 lemon. Just right into the bowl. This is what gives it all its flavor. I actually think the zest has more flavor than the juice, so whenever I make something with lemon, I always put the zest in. Smells good already. And then later I'm going to use the juice and make a syrup, lemon syrup for it. That's about 2 teaspoons. Okay, I'm just going to whisk it all together. The idea for this recipe actually came from a recipe I saw that my friend Dory Greenspan wrote for yogurt cake, and I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to see if I can adapt my lemon cake into a lemon yogurt cake? It worked beautifully. Okay, I'm just going to take the dry ingredients, whisk them in. I'm just going to toss them with my hand, make sure they're well mixed, and just slowly whisk them in. You want to whisk them just enough until it's stirred, but not overmix it. I love that you can make this without a mixer. Okay, next thing I need is a half a cup of vegetable oil. It's just flavorless oil. Just stir it in. So it's always so interesting to have 2 people come for lunch that I've never met before. I wonder what Doug and Paige Campbell are going to be like. Okay, into the pan. I've greased and floured a loaf pan. Just pour this right in. That was a pretty easy cake, wasn't it? Perfect. Into the oven, 350 degrees for about 50 minutes, and then I'm going to drizzle it with a lemon glaze. So the lemon yogurt cake is out of the oven, and while it cools, I'm going to make a lemon syrup, just pour over it, make it even better. So I need 1/3 cup of lemon juice. Need a little more. It's about 1½ lemons. Perfect. I'm just going to heat it up with 1/3 cup of sugar. I'm just going to let that come to a boil until it becomes just very clear. Take a few minutes. I'm going to see if I can get my cake out of the pan. So this cake has lemon zest in it. There's lemon juice on it. And if that's not enough, I'm going to make a blueberry sauce for it. Came out perfectly. I'm just going to cook this until it becomes clear, until the sugar dissolves. You know, these guys spent a lot of money for this lunch. I hope it's good enough for them. Okay, this is perfect. Sugar's dissolved. And I'm just going to spoon it right over the cake. And then what it does is it just soaks right into the cake, keeps it really moist, and has lots of great lemon flavor. I have to admit, I'll take lemon over chocolate any day. So this is good just the way it is, but with a fresh blueberry sauce, it's going to be even better. Lemon yogurt cake on its own is just fine, but since these guests are really special, I'm going to make a blueberry sauce for the cake. We'll make it into a whole dessert. So the first thing I'm going to do is take 3 half pints of fresh blueberries. Then I'm going to put vanilla sugar in it. And what it is sugar that I've immersed vanilla beans in. You can buy it in the store or you can make it yourself. After I take the seeds out of the vanilla beans, I just put the pods right in here, and it smells absolutely amazing. I love this. I've had this jar, I think, for 20 years. I just keep adding vanilla and sugar to it. So I need 1.5 cups of vanilla sugar. That's 1 cup. And another half. Try and get it into the cup, not on the counter. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, plus 1/3 cup of water. I'm just going to cook this together. Bring it to a simmer for about 15 minutes. And then later I'm going to add some fresh lemon juice. So the sauce is reduced. It's so nice and thick. It's amazing. Berries and vanilla sugar. You can really smell it. It smells wonderful. Now what I'm going to do is just strain it. And all it is really is blueberries and sugar and vanilla. And if you press the berries through the sieve, end up with a really nice thick sauce. And you get to use all the blueberry. You'll see, you can see some right there. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to it. I just think a little bit of acidity is, sort of cuts the sugar. A little bit of lemon juice in it. Just a touch of lemon juice, about 1/2 tablespoon. Just really gives the sauce more depth of flavor. And that's it. You can really smell the fresh blueberries and vanilla sugar, a little bit of lemon juice. I'm just going to let that cool. That's going to be delicious on the lemon yogurt cake. And dessert's ready.
Delicious.
Thank you. First thing I want to do is just butter the pan. It's a 9-inch round cake pan. I just use the wrapper from the butter. Just put some flour in, toss it around. And to ensure that there's not too much flour in the pan, we're just going to tap it out in the sink. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to start on the cake. So the first thing you need is 6 tablespoons of room temperature butter. Not just softened, I actually leave it out overnight. It makes a huge difference in how light the cake comes out. I need 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. Just going to put that on. And now for the dry ingredients. I'm just going to sift them together. I need 1 1/4 cups of flour. I need 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm just going to sift these together. Okay, next thing I need is 2 eggs. I use extra large eggs, room temperature for the same reason as the butter. Keeps the cake really light. Always break them on the countertop rather than on the bowl so you don't get little shards of eggshell. Okay, let's see how this is doing. So the butter and the sugar are really nice and light and fluffy. I'm going to add the eggs one at a time. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. The key here is just making sure everything's incorporated really well. And some lemon zest. About like 1/2 teaspoon, but maybe 1/2 lemon. Okay, that should do it. 2/3 cup of sour cream. Give it a little richness. Just smooth it out. And now on low speed, I'm going to put all the flour in, and the flour and baking powder and baking soda. This is the point where you really can overbeat it, so just do it slowly. Make sure it's just mixed. Smells good. I can smell the lemon and the vanilla. That's it, just a quick stir. I'm going to finish it with a spatula. So I'm just going to stir it. Make sure the bottom of the bowl is well mixed in. Perfect. Okay, now blueberries. About 1 cup of blueberries. And I'm just going to stir them in so they don't get smushed in, so they're whole. It's beginning to look like a blueberry crumb cake. Just pour it into the pan. And then what I'm going to do is I'm making a streusel for the top. So it's not only just a light, moist cake underneath, it's also got a nice crunch from the streusel. So smooth out the top. Okay, so the first thing for the streusel is I need some butter. I'm just gonna let that melt while I collect the other ingredients. I need 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg. So this is gonna be like a crumbly, crunchy top, which will be really delicious. Now I need 1 1/3 cups of flour. Okay, I'm just going to mix all this together and then crumble it with my hands. So it's wonderful, moist cake underneath and sort of the crunchy, crumbly streusel on the top. Reminds me of cakes my grandmother used to get in Brooklyn. See how nice and crumbly this gets? It's just so old-fashioned. And I'm just going to crumble it right on the top. And then when it bakes, it's going to be really crunchy and have lots of flavor with cinnamon and nutmeg, a little brown sugar. The perfect finale for a little duck salad. Okay, into the oven, 350 degrees for about 40 to 50 minutes. And when it comes out, I'm going to go shopping for ingredients for the duck salad. Jeffrey's walking on the beach, which makes him very happy, and I'm baking, which makes me happy. I'm making strawberry muffins. So there'll be hot muffins for him when he comes back from the beach. So the first thing I need to do is melt some butter. I need 1/2 pound of butter melted. It's 2 sticks. Next are the dry ingredients. So I need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Just lighten it a little with a cup and then measure it without packing it down. That's 1, and 2, 3. Great. The next thing I need is a tablespoon of baking powder. I want them to be really light and fluffy. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and lots of cinnamon, 1 1/2 tablespoons of cinnamon. That's about right, 1 1/2. Perfect. I'm just gonna sift them all together. Just make sure there's nothing in it that you don't want in your muffins. Ooh, cinnamon smells so good. I can smell the butter melting and cinnamon. Already smells like muffins. Okay, that's the dry ingredients. Next, the wet ingredients. So first I need 1 1/4 cups of milk. I'm just gonna do it all in a pitcher so I can measure it together. Perfect. 2 eggs, which I've already beaten. I love muffins because they're so easy to make. And the 2 sticks of melted butter. I'm just gonna pour them right in. Whoa, just made it. And then I'm just gonna make a well right in the middle of the flour and pour the wet ingredients right in. The nice thing about muffins is you don't have to make them in a mixer or a food processor, just a big bowl, that's all you need. The less you mix them, the better they are. They get sort of tough. So just stir this around, and then I'm gonna chop up lots of fresh strawberries. So I need 2 cups of chopped strawberries. These are really gorgeous strawberries from California. And I think I'm just gonna dice them, big pieces, because when you bite into the muffin, what you wanna be sure is you get a little, like a bite of the fresh strawberry. Okay, this should be about 2 cups of fresh strawberries. I'm just gonna put it right into the mix. They smell so good. And just fold them right in. The thing about muffins is if you have a good basic mix, you can really put anything you like in them. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. and 1.5 cups of sugar. Actually, put the sugar in last. It makes the muffins a little bit crunchy, which is nice. Just stir that in. Okay, ready to scoop. I'm going to show you my secret for professional looking muffins. It's an ice cream scoop. Every muffin's going to be exactly the same size. I've lined muffin pans with paper liners. I usually get 16 to 18 muffins out of this, and my scoop is going to be perfect. Into the oven, 375 for about 20 to 25 minutes, and Jeffrey's gonna have hot strawberry muffins when he comes back from his walk. Perfect time. I made strawberry muffins while you were walking on the beach.
Ooh,
Would you like one?
Yeah, I'd love two.
You'd love to.
Yeah. This looks great.
How was your beach walk?
You know, it was unbelievably beautiful.
How about this one? It's a strawberry muffin.
Ooh, that
I hope
looks
you like it.
great.
Is that good?
Isn't that delicious? Wow.
He always likes what I make.